The sea was a liar tonight, its surface glassy and still, promising peace while hiding teeth. Elias Kane clung to the Selene's railing, his knuckles white against the salt-worn wood, as the ship creaked through the fog. 3 days from port, alone on the midnight watch, he heard it again. A whisper, sharp and cold, rising from the black water below. Elias. His name, spoken with a hiss that slithered into his bones. Not the wind, not the waves. Something alive, something that knew him. He froze, breath caught in his throat, eyes darting to the inky depths. The lantern's weak glow flickered, casting shadows that danced like specters across the deck. He'd sailed these waters for a decade. Storms, squalls, and shipwrecks hadn't broken him. But this voice, this thing, was different. It wasn't human, it wasn't natural, and it was getting closer. Elias had first heard it 2 nights ago, faint and fleeting, like a dream slipping away at dawn. He'd been checking the rigging when the whisper curled up from the hull, soft as a lover's call, but sharp with malice. Elias, come below. He'd laughed it off, blaming exhaustion, the endless creak of the ship, or maybe the rum he'd sipped to dull the cold. But the next night, it came again, louder, more insistent, clawing at the edges of his mind. Now, on the 3rd night, it was no longer a whisper, but a chorus. Dozens of voices, overlapping, hungry, chanting his name from the abyss. He gripped the railing tighter, his calloused hands trembling. The Selene was a sturdy brigantine, its hold heavy with spices and silks bound for Bristol, but it felt fragile tonight, a speck adrift on a sea that suddenly seemed too vast, too alive. The fog thickened, swallowing the stars, and the air grew heavy with the stench of rot. Not the usual brine and fish, but something fouler, like decay from a forgotten grave. Elias. The voices surged, clearer now, a wet gurgle beneath the words, as if spoken through drowning lungs. He stumbled back, heart hammering, and scanned the deck. The crew slept below, oblivious, their snores a faint hum through the planks. He wanted to wake them, to scream that something was wrong, but what would he say? That the sea was talking? That it knew him? They'd call him mad, lock him in the brig, and he'd still hear it. Those voices, relentless, pulling at him. He forced himself to the helm, clutching the wheel to anchor his sanity. The compass needle twitched, not north, but in circles, erratic, as if the sea itself were rewriting the world's rules. He blinked sweat from his eyes, his breath shallow, and leaned over the side, peering into the water. The lantern's light barely pierced the surface, but there, beneath the hull, something moved. A shape, vast and formless, rippled in the depths, its edges shimmering like oil on water. Eyes, too many to count, glinted up at him, pale and unblinking, each one fixed on his face. Elias, you belong to us. The voices were a scream now, a cacophony of rage and longing. Vibrating through the ship's timbers into his skull, he staggered, clutching his ears. But the sound wasn't outside, it was inside him, clawing at his thoughts. The shape below swelled, pressing against the hull, and the Selene groaned, wood splintering under the pressure. A crack split the deck, jagged and sudden, and cold seawater oozed up, pooling at his boots. He ran, boots slipping on the slick deck, toward the hatch to rouse the crew. But as he reached it, the voices laughed, a wet, bubbling cackle that made his skin crawl. The hatch was sealed, not by lock or bolt, but by something alive, tendrils black and glistening, slithered from the cracks, weaving shut the only way below. He grabbed an axe from the deck, hacking at them, but the blade sank into the mast like it was cutting fog, and the tendrils writhed, wrapping around his wrist, cold as death and twice as strong. "Elias, you cannot run." The words were a physical weight, pressing him to his knees. The fog closed in, thick as tar, and the lantern snuffed out, plunging the deck into darkness. The ship tilted, a sickening lurch, as if the sea itself were tilting to swallow it whole. He crawled, gasping toward the bow, the axe forgotten, his hands scrabbling against the wood. The voices were everywhere now, in the air, in his blood, chanting promises of eternity, of depths where no light could reach. In the final moment, as the Selene cracked like a walnut under the sea's grip, Elias saw it fully. The thing beneath the hull rose, a titan of shadow and sinew, its form too vast for his mind to hold. Eyes like moons, mouths that gaped and sang, and arms, hundreds, thousands, reaching for him. "Elias," it whispered, one last time, as the water closed over his head, pulling him down to where the voices lived, where they'd always been waiting. The Selene vanished without a trace, its cargo and crew lost to the deep, but sailors still speak of a fog that lingers on that stretch of sea, where the water is too still, too quiet, and if you listen closely on moonless nights, you might hear it, a whisper calling your name from the darkness beneath the hull.